Welcome to Darkwatch Stories, where we bring to life the chills, the shadows, and the mysteries that linger in the dark. If you enjoy spine-tingling stories and want to support the journey into the unknown, don't forget to like, subscribe, and share. Now, sit back, dim the lights, and let's step into tonight's story. I never planned to stay up that way, but when the night stretches endlessly and sleep refuses to come, time stops feeling real. The world outside fades, and even the hum of the refrigerator sounds like a heartbeat in the dark. That's when I found it, an ordinary-looking survey, promising to help shape tomorrow. A simple click, a bit of curiosity, and my quiet night began to unravel. The TV glowed in silence, replaying disasters and gossip like a broken prayer. My apartment felt alive in its stillness, the kind of quiet that listens back. Every click of the refrigerator was a reminder that something, somewhere, still functioned. Behind me, Spots, my black cat, watched like a small, silent judge, her eyes, twin lanterns in the phone's cold light. The night wasn't just still. It was watching, waiting, breathing through wires and shadows. "Don't look at me like that," I muttered, but Spot's only stretched claws whispering against the fabric. The boredom was heavy, thick enough to drown in. I scrolled through chaos news clips, strangers arguing in comments I didn't care about. It was a spiral of noise in a silent room. When even that lost its thrill, I turned to something simpler, something pointless: online quizzes. If meaning wouldn't come to me, maybe the internet could fake it for a while. The quizzes grew stranger, yet I kept clicking, half amused, half hypnotized. Each result felt like a tiny confession from a machine that somehow knew too much. "Burnt pancake," it said, harsh but fair. I laughed alone in the dark and promised myself it would be the last one before bed. Then it appeared, a plain white ad with no color, no logo, no noise. Just 5 words that didn't fit anywhere. Help shape tomorrow. It was so plain it almost felt deliberate. No colors, no faces, no tricks. Just words that looked like they'd been waiting for me. The button blinked patiently. Begin survey. I hesitated, thumb suspended over the glow. "Should we help shape tomorrow's spots?" I asked, half joking. She blinked once, slow and unimpressed. The silence pressed closer. "All right," I sighed, giving in. Curiosity, after all, has a louder voice than reason. "Let's see what fresh hell this is," I murmured, tapping the screen. It blinked once, then displayed the simplest question imaginable. Dark or light? No context, no welcome, just choice. I stared longer than I meant to. My reflection ghosted on the glass. The room was already drowned in shadow, the kind of quiet that made the dark feel alive. "Dark," I said aloud, my voice smaller than I expected, and pressed the button. At first I didn't even notice. The lamp flickered, sighed, and died with a faint pop. Then the TV went black, the router's green eye blinked out, and the refrigerator's familiar hum vanished. The world so full of small noises moments ago had been erased. For one heartbeat, there was nothing. No sound, no motion, just the weight of silence, pressing in thick and alive like the air itself was holding its breath. It wasn't the silence of peace, it was the kind that hums in your bones, that waits for something to move first. My reflection stared back from the black glass, pale and uncertain. "Okay," I whispered, expecting the power to flicker back to prove the world still worked. But then came a sound, a single faint click from the hallway. Small, precise. Then nothing. The kind of nothing that makes you wish you hadn't noticed it at all. Outside, the world had vanished into ink. The street was a void. The neighboring building, usually marked by one stubborn kitchen light, was now just another block of shadow. Every window looked blind. My phone screen stayed dark, but it was warm in my hand, pulsing faintly like something alive beneath the glass. The power was gone, yet something was still awake, and for a reason I couldn't name, that was worse than darkness itself. Spots let out a small, uncertain trill, the kind of sound that meant she felt it too. I could barely make out her shape, only two dim eyes glinting in the dark. "Yeah," I whispered. "Guess we got our answer." The night stretched thin around us. Somewhere outside, metal groaned. Maybe a swaying cable, maybe something else. A car alarm stuttered, died halfway through its cry. 1 minute passed, then another. The silence felt heavier each time it returned. My own breathing felt too loud, too human in the void. Then, without warning, the phone flared to life in my palm. No soft glow, just a violent burst of light that stabbed my eyes. The screen was back, the same plain survey, calm and unbothered. "Thank you for your selection." Next question, heat or cold. No error, no apology. As if the darkness had been part of the plan all along. The words stared back, calm and blank, as if nothing strange had happened at all. Spots lifted her head, ears pricking toward the phone, hearing something I couldn't. My mouth went dry. "All right," I muttered, "let's play along." My thumb hovered, then chose cold. The air conditioner coughed once, then howled to life, spilling frost into the dark. I could see my breath hanging pale in the air. Spots leapt down, fur bristling tail, twitching like a live wire. "Yeah," I whispered, eyes fixed on the screen's pale glow. "Me too." The air conditioner moaned through the vents, a hollow, icy breath crawling from beneath the building. The cold moved in slow pulses, each one heavier than the last, until the air itself felt wrong, thick yet empty, sharp yet suffocating. It wasn't just temperature anymore. It was presence, creeping into my lungs, coiling around every sound that dared to exist. Spots crept closer, silent, as breath, her fur brushing against my leg like static in motion. I could feel her gaze even without looking, steady, knowing, almost human. She did this sometimes, as if she saw more of the world than I did. The phone's glow washed over her, painting her black coat in silver blue light. Each breath she took shimmered for a heartbeat, then vanished, swallowed by the cold air between us. We were just two faint shapes adrift in the glow suspended between thought and fear. The cold had crept into my fingers, dulling everything except the pulse in my wrist. My mind searched for reason, power grid, glitch, faulty wiring, something ordinary to hold on to. Anything to make it small, explainable. But before comfort could settle, the phone blinked once, sharp, deliberate, like an eye opening in the dark. The screen showed two new words, flood or fire, as if they carried equal weight, equal ruin. No animation, no sound, just quiet demand. A nervous laugh bubbled up, but broke before it reached my lips. What kind of survey asked this? What kind of answer mattered? Spots' ears flicked toward the screen, alert, uneasy. The room felt smaller, the air denser, as if the question itself had filled it, waiting for me to choose what should burn or drown. Spots stayed close, her tail rigid, pointing toward the window, as if it sensed something waiting there. A metallic rattle drifted from outside wind maybe, or something pretending to be. My throat tightened. Flood. I whispered the word, barely leaving my mouth, unsure if the phone or the night was listening. My thumb hesitated, then pressed the choice. No sound followed, just a brief pulse of light, a flicker that felt like acknowledgement. Then the word, processing, blinked once and vanished. I waited, counting the seconds, until something, anything, proved me right. Nothing moved. "See," I whispered, forcing a shaky laugh. Nothing happened this time, but Spots didn't react. Her eyes were locked on the window, unblinking, glassy with reflected light. In them, I saw my own face drained, sleepless, haloed by the phone's glow like a flickering candle. The silence grew long enough to feel alive, like it was waiting for its turn to answer. I exhaled, realizing I'd been holding my breath too long. The phone hit the coffee table with a soft, harmless tap face down, like it knew it should stay that way. For the first time that night, I let myself believe it might be over. I could walk away, crawl into bed, and pretend none of it existed. The couch felt safe, ordinary. I rubbed the bridge of my nose, the cold biting my fingertips. Then buzz. The phone vibrated again. I froze, staring. The vibration echoed through the silence like a nervous heartbeat tapping against the wood. I waited for it to stop, but it didn't. Another buzz came longer this time, and a third. Each one seemed more insistent, more alive. My hand hovered before I finally turned it over. The name on the screen hit me first, sharp and unexpected Emily. It felt like seeing a ghost text from a past life I wasn't ready to remember. Emily. We hadn't spoken in months, not since she left for the coast. We used to trade late-night messages when neither of us could sleep little pieces of comfort through glowing screens. Now her name burned brighter than the rest. Hey, are you seeing this? I frowned, unlocking the phone. 3 new messages blinked in rapid order. They're saying a tsunami's coming. The whole West Coast. People are already evacuating LA. My stomach sank. The word flood echoed in my head. It's real. I can hear the sirens. I'm so scared. Her words blurred as I stared, refusing to believe what I read. A weak laugh escaped me, more out of panic than humor. No way, I whispered, shaking my head. You've got to be kidding me. My voice cracked through the silence, sharp enough to make Spots flinch, her ears flattening as the room seemed to tighten around us. Spots brushed past my knee, disappearing beneath the coffee table, her tail swallowed by the dark. My fingers felt numb as I opened the news app. The screen erupted in chaos, red banners flashing headlines, trembling phone footage. People were running, screaming, waves already devouring the piers while helicopters circled above a restless sea. Tsunami warning in effect. Emergency broadcast. Magnitude 8-point-something offshore. The word live blinked in every corner. This wasn't rumor. The ocean was moving now. I blinked hard, my pulse thudding in my ears. Flood, I whispered, the word tasting, different now, heavy, real. My thumb brushed the home button, and there it was. The survey still open, still processing. The same blank screen, patient and cruel. A tightness crept up my throat, invisible fingers closing around my breath. Then the phone buzzed again, sharp and insistent. Another message from Emily. My stomach dropped before I even read it. Are you okay? I know you're not here, but I'm texting everyone. Her words trembled on the screen. I tried to reply anything, but my fingers felt disconnected, slow, useless. I'm okay. The sentence broke before it began. What could I possibly say? Funny story, I might have chosen that one. The thought curdled in my throat. Under the table, Spots meowed softly, a fragile sound reminding me I wasn't alone. I leaned forward, searching, but she was only a shadow inside a darker one. Another buzz. They're saying it's 30 feet high. It's moving fast. Then silence. The typing bubble flickered for a heartbeat, then vanished. I stared at the screen until it dimmed, my reflection swallowed by darkness. A new flash split the quiet. Breaking news tsunami warning issued for West Coast catastrophic event possible. My pulse roared in my ears, each beat hammering against the truth that I could no longer deny. The apartment stayed cold, the vent whispering like an old man telling secrets he shouldn't. I pressed the phone's side button, closing every app, every trace of the survey, until only the home screen stared back. Maybe that would end it, just power off and forget. But the icon blinked once faintly, then disappeared like it had been waiting for me to make that choice. I turned the phone face down again, pretending silence could erase what I'd seen. Spots slipped out from under the table, brushing my ankle, before leaping onto the couch. Her fur was cool to the touch, smooth, but carrying a faint scent of dust. She curled against my leg, seeking comfort the way she always did when thunder rolled outside, except this time the world was silent. I stroked her back, my gaze fixed on the window, imagining the Pacific miles away, swallowing cities whole, while my street stayed frozen in perfect calm. The phone buzzed once, just once, and that was enough. I stared at the screen at Emily's frantic messages, at the endless stream of breaking news banners, until something inside me gave way. The morbid curiosity that had kept me glued to the screen dissolved into a cold, hollow dread. This wasn't absurd anymore. It wasn't fiction. It was happening. My voice came out small and cracked as I whispered, "I'm done." And for once I meant it. I locked the phone, but it twitched in my hand, a sharp jolt like someone tapping my shoulder. I flung it onto the couch. It buzzed again harder, this time rattling through the cushions. Spots leapt back, claws sinking into the fabric. Panic surged. I grabbed the phone and hurled it into the kitchen. It skidded across the linoleum, vanishing under the table. One last blink of light, then darkness. My hands trembled. "Done," I muttered. "I'm done. No more." Spots let out a soft, throaty meow, the sound low and grounding. She hopped off the couch and crossed the room, settling by the doorway like she was waiting for me to do something, anything. I rubbed my face, my palms cold against colder skin. The air reeked faintly of metal like the stale breath of an old freezer. "Coffee," I muttered, clinging to the word. "Yeah, coffee. That's normal. Normal is good." I stepped into the kitchen, keeping my eyes fixed anywhere but the table where the phone had disappeared. The old coffee maker waited on the counter, its pot still half full from the morning. I poured it out, the smell of stale coffee, sharp and real. My hands trembled as I rinsed, refilled, measured. The hiss of running water sounded almost comforting, something normal in the madness. I fumbled the coffee grounds, scattering dark specks across the counter like ash. Black specks dotted the fake marble like tiny constellations. I brushed them aside, forcing my mind to stay with the rhythm coffee filter water button. The machine sputtered to life, its bubbling sound rich and ordinary. Steam curled upward, wrapping the air in warmth I didn't trust but needed. I held onto it like a lifeline. Spots hopped onto the counter beside me, tail curling neatly around her paws, head tilted as if she were studying my attempt at pretending everything was fine. Her eyes gleamed in the dim light, pale yellow coins, reflecting every flicker of movement. "Hey, girl." I rasped my voice, barely steady. I ran a trembling hand down her back. "We're okay. It's just the internet. Just a bad joke, that's all." Her fur was soft and warm, a fragile thread pulling me back to reality. She purred low and rhythmic, syncing with my heartbeat. When the pot was half full, I poured a mug clinging to its heat, like proof that life was still ordinary. The sharp, bitter scent of coffee sliced through the metallic chill that had claimed the room. I took a sip too quickly, burning my tongue, but I didn't care. "See," I muttered, forcing a smile. "Coffee. We're fine." The warmth barely had time to settle before the world erupted again. Every screen in the apartment blinked to life at once. The TV flared, silently flooding the walls with cold, artificial light that felt anything but safe. From the bedroom came a sharp click. My laptop, untouched for days, had sprung open on its own. Even the old tablet on the shelf, long forgotten and dust-covered, glowed to life, casting pale white rectangles across the dark. Spots hissed, her fur bristling like static. I slammed the mug down, coffee spilling over the edge. "No," I breathed, stepping into the living room. Every screen stared back at me, bright and unified, all displaying the same thing, the survey. The same plain font filled every screen, now massive and blinding. Sink or swim. Below it, a red digital timer, began its relentless countdown from 10. You have 10 seconds to decide, or the choice will be made for you. My mouth went dry. No, 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 no. I whispered, backing toward the hallway as the numbers dropped. 9, 8. Spots bolted beneath the couch, her shadow vanishing just as the glow from the screens grew harsher. My heartbeat crashed against my ribs, wild and uneven. I sprinted down the hallway, every screen screaming the same message: sink or swim. The laptop glowed on my desk. The tablet echoed it on the nightstand, and even the dead TV reflected the countdown like a phantom clock. 7, 6, where's the phone? I gasped, dropping to my knees. Drawers flew open, papers, scattered clothes flung aside. Sweat slicked my palms every motion, clumsy, desperate, like the air itself was counting down with me. 5, 4. I bolted back into the kitchen, my heartbeat thunderous in my ears. The phone was there, half hidden beneath the table, its screen still dark. I dove for it, slamming my shoulder against the leg of the table with a grunt. My fingers brushed the cold glass, then it vibrated, a deep, pulsing hum, alive and waiting. 3. The screen burst to life in my hand, light so bright it felt like it burned through the dark. Sink or swim. 3. Spots cried out behind me, a sharp, terrified sound that cut straight through the air. 2. I didn't think I just shouted swim and slammed my thumb against the screen. A blinding flash swallowed everything. The countdown vanished. For a single heartbeat, the world froze. Then the vents went. Still the hum of the refrigerator returned, soft and familiar, as if nothing had ever gone wrong except everything had. The TVs went black, one by one. Their lights snuffed out like dying stars. Then came a sound wet and uneven from the other room. Not a splash exactly, but a dragging, slippery movement like something heavy climbing from a full tub. My skin prickled. Spots, I called, my voice cracking in the still air. Before the silence could answer, a blur of black shot from the kitchen doorway, fast and terrified. Spots bolted straight into me, her fur slicked flat against her body, dripping water in trembling streams. She was gasping cats don't pant, but she was each breath a small, broken tremor. I dropped the phone and scooped her up, pressing her against my chest. She was ice cold, shaking so hard I could feel it in my bones. Her claws clung to my shirt like she was afraid to let go. "I'm sorry," I whispered. "I didn't mean to. I didn't know." Her soaked fur bled chill through the fabric. She pressed her head beneath my chin, her whole body trembling, her heart fluttering wildly like a bird desperate to escape. "I've got you," I whispered, rocking back and forth as if motion alone could promise safety. "I've got you." I wrapped her in a towel, holding my palm against her ribs, feeling the frantic rhythm slowly ease. The room stayed silent, but her heartbeat, soft and steady now, was proof that something still lived here. The apartment reeked of wet gravel, burnt coffee, and the sharp metallic scent of fear. From the other room came the faint dying gurgle of the fish tank filter, a final bubbling sigh before silence claimed it too. "You're okay, girl," I murmured. "It's over." I placed Spots gently on the couch. She crouched, low eyes wide and glassy, a small black comma wrapped in damp fabric. When I tried to stand, my knees protested, creaking like old hinges under the weight of everything that had just happened. The phone lay a few feet away, face down, leaking a faint halo of white light across the tile. I nudged it with my foot, sending it skidding under the table, out of sight, out of mind. If the world wanted me to choose again, it could mail me a paper ballot next time. "Coffee," I muttered. "We're doing coffee." The words felt absurd, but speaking them out loud made them real, fragile proof that normal still existed somewhere between fear and caffeine. I rinsed the carafe again, trying to steady my shaking hands. Too much coffee, then too little, none of it right. Good enough, I muttered, pressing the button. The machine clattered and sighed, falling into its slow rhythm. The sound filled the kitchen, warm and ordinary, the heartbeat of mornings that belonged to someone else's life. Steam curled up, the cabinets thin and ghostly. Spots followed it with her eyes pupils wide, as if watching something I couldn't see. Spots stayed on the couch, motionless, except for her head turning like a tiny guard scanning for threats in the air. I leaned against the counter, listening. Something rumbled above, maybe a plane, maybe just the old bones of the building settling. I told myself it was nothing. When the pot reached halfway, I poured. The bitter, familiar smell rose first, grounding me. I cupped the mug in both hands, letting the heat seep into my fingers, pretending warmth meant safety. It helped a little. I took a cautious sip, hissed when it burned my tongue, and strangely, that helped too. Pain meant the world still followed rules. See, I said to Spots, caffeine, civilization, we're fine. She didn't blink, didn't even move. I carried the mug to the living room, set it carefully on a coaster I never used for guests, and sank beside her on the couch, chasing the illusion that normalcy could still be brewed. Spots crawled onto my lap, as if the universe hadn't just proven it could be switched on and off. I ran my hand along her back, feeling the chill still clinging to her fur as it dampened my sweatshirt. My eyes drifted to the TV. The last frozen image lingered faintly on the black screen. An anchor's worried face, a silent headline, a ghost of panic. I didn't turn it on. I didn't even reach for the remote. Some things were better left dark. I took a slow sip, savoring a rare minute where absolutely nothing happened. The silence almost felt sacred. Then all at once it shattered. Every screen in the apartment burst to life, not like waking, but convulsing. White light exploded across the room. The TV, the forgotten tablet on the shelf, the microwave's display, even the laptop buried in dust. They all blinked on together, a blinding, synchronized pulse that felt less like power and more like possession. The room flared sterile, white, cold, and merciless. Spots recoiled, claws digging deep into my thigh. No, I breathed. No. But the words spread across every screen before I could blink. Aliens or demons. The letters burned black against the light, bold and final. Beneath them, a red countdown began to bleed across the white. 10. You have 10 seconds to decide, or the choice will be made for you. My stomach dropped. The hum of the machines grew louder. 9. The hum deepened, not loud, but absolute, seeping into everything. The walls, the mug, even the roots of my teeth. The coffee's surface trembled alive as if afraid to make noise. My skin prickled with every vibration. 8. I didn't dare touch the remote. Instead, I stretched my leg beneath the table, trying to hook the phone closer with my foot. It slipped just out of reach, skittering farther away, like it wanted no part in my choice. The countdown ticked on, steady and merciless, like the heartbeat in a film where everyone already knows the ending. 7. Don't, I pleaded into the hum. Don't do this. I said it to the TV, the microwave, to whatever unseen thing was listening beneath the noise. I'm not. I'm done. 6. Spots growled low. A rough metallic sound then slipped off my lap and vanished beneath the couch as if instinct knew what reason, refused to accept something terrible was coming. 5. The light twisted greener, not the calm green of life or healing, but the hue of something artificial, something that had never known either. My body moved before, thoughts staggering toward the table. The air felt thick, charged, humming. My fingers brushed empty space, then finally found it for the slick glass surface, warm and trembling in my palm, pulsing faintly like a living brain refusing to rest. The glow bled through my skin, whispering decide. I yanked the phone out and turned it over. The same question stared back, smaller now, but sharper, meaner. 3. I'm not picking demons, I muttered, hating the tremor in my voice, hating how ready I was to choose. Fine. Aliens. My thumb hovered, shaking, as the countdown bled lower. 2. I hit aliens. The screens flickered white, then static, then the chaos of live news bursting into motion, voices clashing, anchors shouting over one another. It wasn't just one channel. Every screen screamed at once, voices layered into a single chaotic chorus. Headlines overlapped, anchors shouted over each other, and shaky phone footage filled the display. A man sobbed into a microphone, words breaking apart. A woman in a safety vest repeated, "This is not a drill," her voice cracking with disbelief as if she'd rehearsed it her whole life but never thought it real. The ticker flashed, breaking lights over major U.S. cities. The alerts cascaded faster now, breaking unidentified objects. FAA orders immediate ground stop, contact event White House to address nation. The feed stuttered frames, skipping like a heartbeat out of sync. Then the view shifted someone's shaky phone camera, the lens aimed upward from a high-rise balcony. The person's hand trembled as they pointed breathless, capturing a sky that no longer knew how to be dark, right where the night itself seemed rewritten. The thing in the sky didn't move. It existed, a darker shadow carved into the glow, vast and deliberate. Nothing around it blinked, not stars, not planes. A massive alien craft. My phone vibrated violently, messages flooding in from names I hadn't seen in years. "You seeing this? Dude, look outside. Over Vegas, no L. A. No, everywhere." An unknown number sent a location pin and one desperate text, "Please help me." The anchor reappeared, on-screen voice, trembling professionalism crumbling at the edges. The anchor's voice bled through my TV, even though I knew the volume had been muted. "We're receiving reports of alien crafts. They appear to be hostile. May God be with us all." His words cracked like static. I should have closed the blinds. I should have walked away. But instead, I leaned closer, pressing my forehead to the cool glass of the window, desperate for something simple, something solid to hold onto. As the world outside forgot how to make sense, the light speared through the window, sharp and deliberate, as if it had been aiming for me all along. Every hair on my arms rose in perfect unison. Dust drifted into the beam hanging there, suspended tiny stars deciding whether to exist. My breath caught. Then my phone blinked in my hand. The screen turned white again, calm and sterile. The survey had returned, words materializing crisp and perfect, as though nothing outside had ever been real, up or down. The red countdown returned, 10, 9. I stumbled backward from the window, not by choice but by instinct. The pull wasn't physical, not yet. It was a suggestion, a whisper beneath thought. My body remembered that instant of weightlessness, when you miss the last step on a staircase, that lurch of wrong gravity. This was the same feeling, only deeper, as if the air itself had made a decision for me. Then the whisper turned real. My socks peeled off the floorboards, floating half an inch in the air. The coffee mug slid across the table, scraping softly. 8. Spots I called, my voice warping, stretched thin by the vibration. Spots stay. No reply. The couch skirt rippled once, then fell still. 7. The kitchen towel rose gently, corners unfurling like wings. The potholder crept to the counter's edge, hesitated, as if even objects were deciding which way to go. Somewhere behind me, the refrigerator tried to hum back to life, then gave up halfway through. 6. This time it got serious. My heels lifted from the floor and stayed there. The air felt thick, reversed. I clutched the back of a chair, but it strained upward, yearning for the ceiling more than for gravity. 5. Down, I whispered, part prayer, part command, but the word went nowhere, swallowed before it could reach the air. The beam flared brighter, and this time it sang a high, piercing tone, thin as glass, the exact opposite of thunder. It buzzed behind my eyes, sharp enough to taste. 4. Ceiling, floor, the world flipped without moving. I couldn't tell if I was 3 feet up or 30. Gravity had forgotten me. The blinds clattered against the window, twisting open like a gaping mouth, as if the sky itself wanted to watch. The world outside wasn't a street anymore, just motionless light and shifting shadow. 3. Spots cried out once, a small torn sound, and every instinct in me tried to drag myself down to her, to safety, to gravity. But my body refused. 2. The question still glared from the phone. Up or down? I jabbed at the screen, but it slid half an inch away, floating in my own trembling grip as if reality itself were rejecting my choice. I tightened my grip, forcing my trembling finger down. Down! I shouted the word landing, like a command to the universe. The timer struck 1 the instant my thumb made contact. The light snapped off. Gravity remembered me and pulled hard. I crashed onto the bed hip and shoulder first, the air knocked clean from my lungs. The frame groaned beneath me. Overhead, the ceiling was just a ceiling, again ordinary, motionless human. I lay there, staring upward, afraid to breathe. Spots, I croaked, once my lungs remembered how to work. My voice scraped out of me, thin and rough. The blanket shifted, and a small damp weight climbed onto my stomach, careful, hesitant. She was still wet, but no longer dripping, her fur smelling faintly of metal and aquarium water. She moved slowly, tail twitching, as if torn between fear and trust. Finally, she settled there close enough that her heartbeat pressed against mine, choosing me over the shadows. She curled into the hollow between my ribs and arm, sneezing once a tiny, indignant sound before purring to life like an engine rebuilt wrong, but still running. I rested my hand on her back, feeling the uneven rhythm steady beneath my palm. "We're down," I whispered. "We're down." The phone rested near my hip, its screen tilted toward the ceiling, glowing faintly like an open eye that hadn't decided whether to close. A new message glowed on the screen, no question, no countdown, just a single line. "Thank you for your preference." The words lingered sharp and quiet before the light began to fade. I stayed still. Spots pressed against my ribs, our breaths rising and falling together like we were proving the world still existed. My eyes burned, and my skull pulsed with pain, the kind that comes from holding everything in too long. At last, I pushed myself up, knees cracking like old hinges. The phone slipped from my hand, landing face down on the blanket, still radiating faint warmth. I didn't reach for it. "I'm done," I told the empty room. "We're done." Spots hopped down and padded silently beside me as I walked toward the living room's dim, uncertain light. The apartment felt drained, like someone had wrung it out and left it hanging in silence. The air was heavy, but calm. The fridge hummed its steady tune again, and outside the amber streetlights painted long, lazy shadows on the pavement. A car passed, slowly, life ordinary and real. I sank into the couch, my body folding in on itself. My head throbbed, a sharp pulse behind my eyes. I pressed my fingers to my temples until the pain focused, then melted away. The faint smell of wet fur lingered on my hands, blending with the bitterness of old coffee. Spots hopped up beside me, curling her tail around my arm like an anchor. She was almost dry now, still cool to the touch, her warmth hesitant but real. I scratched behind her ears, and she leaned in, purring softly. Together, we watched the window. Outside, the world looked frozen in a photograph, motionless yet undeniably alive. Outside, life moved again. Cars gliding past streetlights, holding steady clouds, drifting like they always had. No beams, no hum. I exhaled, half a laugh, half relief. "It's over," I whispered. Spots kneaded the blanket once before curling up her head, resting on my thigh. I leaned back, eyes half shut, trying to memorize the rare quiet of nothing happening. Then came the buzz, not a soft ping, but a deep, sustained vibration that broke the stillness in half. The vibration deepened, steady and alive, humming through the coffee table like a warning pulse. I opened my eyes. The phone was still on the bed, its faint glow spilling onto the hallway wall. I didn't move. My hand stayed on Spots' neck, feeling her heartbeat pause beneath my fingers. She froze too, ears twitching toward the sound. The buzzing stopped. Then it came again, shorter, this time sharper, unmistakable, like someone knocking. From the inside, I rose each step toward the bedroom, thick and heavy as if the air had turned to water. The hallway was dim, yet the phone's glow carved a pale square on the floor, one pulse, then another patient and alive. My fingers trembled, reluctant, almost foreign to me, as they reached out. The screen shone white once more, but this time it wasn't empty. Something was waiting. A new line blinked onto the screen. "Would you like to share this survey with your friends?" Yes. No. My stomach twisted. From the living room, Spots let out a soft, uneasy meow, half warning, half plea. I stared at the question, my thumb trembling above the choices. "No," I whispered. "No, no." I pressed down, but sweat slicked my hand, the glass slicker still. The screen shifted beneath my touch. In that breath of panic, my finger slid sideways. A soft chime echoed. "Yes," flashed across the screen. I froze. For one long heartbeat, nothing moved. The glow faded to its usual calm, reflecting my own face, pale, hollow-eyed, ghost-like. Behind me, Spot sat in the doorway, her silhouette sharp against the dim light, like the final punctuation to a sentence I hadn't meant to write. Then the phone vibrated again, slow, deep, almost content. The kind of hum that sounded disturbingly like satisfaction. Thank you for listening to Darkwatch Stories. If this story gave you chills, make sure to like, subscribe, and share so we can keep bringing you more. Until next time, stay safe and stay aware of what might be watching in the dark.